AstraZeneca KSA, Abdul Rahman Sabra, General Manager at Roche, Michael Rouse, Consultant for International Initiatives, Board of Pharmacy Specialties, Ahmed Al-Shamrani, the CEO of the National Center for Health Workforce Planning at the Saudi Commission for Health Specialties, and moderating Dr. Abdullah Al-Shememri, the Vice Dean at King Saud University. Please welcome all the panelists.
Good luck. Right here. Shamrani.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Dina, and thanks to everyone staying for us for the next discussion. The previous panel underscored how global collaboration and workforce mobility are shaping healthcare. In this session, we'll be talking about biotechnology, the engine for next-generation healthcare. It goes beyond treatment to reimagine how therapies are discovered, manufactured, and personalized, transforming every stage of the healthcare value chain. For Saudi Arabia, biotechnology represents more than scientific progress. It's a national ambition. Under the National Biotechnology Strategy, the Kingdom aims to become a global hub of innovation, and a skilled, future-ready health workforce is the engine that will drive it. Our discussion today brings together exceptional leaders from global biopharma, healthcare system, education, and regulation to explore how can we build a future-ready biotechnology healthcare workforce that are equipped for global excellence. Let me start by asking a general question to all of you. The biotechnology is reshaping healthcare delivery and workforce roles at all levels. From your organization standpoint, how can global partnerships accelerate knowledge exchange toward workforce competency development and upskilling to keep pace with innovation?
Would you like to start?
Dr. Hatem,
okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Abdullah, and pleasure to be here with esteemed panelists. And reflecting on your question, I guess that the global collaboration is a foundation for readiness of the healthcare workforce to biotechnology area. And I think with the advancement that we see now in science, no single institution can really keep the pace in this science innovation. We need to come together in a partnership and a strategic collaboration between academia, regulators, industry, in order to ensure that our workforce are really ready for the biotechnology evolution. And if I can give a quick example about our organization in AstraZeneca, for example, our collaboration with SPIMACO in the advancement of local manufacture is not only about expanding the local manufacturer footprint, but we are creating a highly potent manufacturer facility that acts as a learning hub for the technicians, for the science inside the sites, in order to be ready for such evolution. And as well with the expansion that we have in the clinical trials, serving more than 600 patients in Saudi Arabia. This, again, a knowledge transfer and a learning hub that build our future generation in biotechnology.
Beautiful. Dr. Preeti?
Sure. I would love to add a few thoughts. Hatem, thank you so much. That was very interesting. This is a great question because I think today at the pace innovation is moving at, knowledge is not keeping up the pace. So I think when we look at global partnerships and global collaborations, it works when the two go hand in hand. Right from education in school to even AI technology. Are we keeping up to what's required? I'm not so sure. So when we look at global collaborations between industry, healthcare systems, and regulators, it's very, very important that we work hand in hand. When we look at Sanofi particularly, we're actually working very closely with the Saudi Commission to ensure that we adapt, upskill, have knowledge transfer, and co-create programs that work both for industry, but also the kingdom when we look at what the Vision 2030 is and the aspects of it. I think when we look at joint collaborations, what we're looking for is not just results, but also what are the skills that we're leaving behind so that you keep up pace with innovation that is coming so quickly.
Absolutely. I'd like to hear from Dr. Barton as well.
Well, thank you, Abdullah. I was really moved by the Secretary General's talk about the focus on education, because I think education drives innovation. And I think as we think about the ways to drive innovation and continue to utilize biotechnology, I think it's important to get a balance, and I think it's important that that balance comes from operability and having resilience in that operability so that we don't overfund technology to a point where it's unaffordable, inaccessible, and unusable. So that practical application, that pragmatic approach of driving education through global partnerships, again, toward operability are very, very important. Oftentimes we see investment, research and development come in that develop things that are unaffordable. And as we see the rising cost of healthcare go up, I think we need to moderate that. And I think we need to be thoughtful about the sustainability of that and how it not only applies today, but how it will apply over the next 20 years. And I think once you think about that investment, it becomes easier to think about how you make that in such a way that everyone can get access to it, everybody's trained on it, because oftentimes we see people go out and buy technology, they can't implement it because they don't have people that understand how to do that. So through our residency training programs, our fellowship programs, we tie those in to work with vendors who are developing this technology so that it is affordable, it is accessible, it's teachable, it's usable, and it has operational sustainability over the long haul versus a short period of time.
It's awesome, awesome. Well, thank you all for these insightful opening remarks, and let's begin with some industry perspective. And I will go back to Ms. Preeti. Sanofi has been a global leader in developing next generation therapies and building workforce capabilities around them. What is the strategy adopted by Sanofi toward workforce capability building and continuous learning to ensure practitioners' readiness for next generation therapies?
No, thank you for that question. I think in Sanofi we have a very single-minded philosophy when it comes to skills. Progress comes through continuous learning. So every program that we co-create with local professionals, with local regulators, focuses on how do we do continuous learning while things are transforming and changing so rapidly. So like I mentioned, we have an MOU now with the Saudi Commission on co-creating fellowship programs to ensure that you are actually future ready. Whether it comes to biotechnology, digital innovation, I think every program that we have with our local ecosystem focuses on not just what the results are, is the innovation that's coming tomorrow, how are we ready today? And how do we co-create it, and how do we make sure that the people who are here can actually implement what's coming? So that's our philosophy, and loosely put, this is what we try and do with every program that we're working on locally as well as globally.
Yes, yeah, well, you highlighted that structured learning and capacity building are essential for readiness for the health workforce in the biotech field. I will move to Dr. Hatem in AstraZeneca. AstraZeneca is bridging science, data, and digital health. My question is, as biotechnology adoption accelerates, how can the industry foster the skill development ecosystem that extend beyond drug development to incorporate data science, digital health, and research?
Yeah. First, let me reflect on Saudi Arabia Vision 2030, where it has prioritized clearly clinical research, digital health, and advancement in manufacturing. And for that, AstraZeneca is very much aligned to this vision. And what we are doing is we are expanding our clinical research footprint in order to intersect data, digital, and science, and bring the latest innovation to the country. So we are the top contributor when it comes to clinical research here in the country, and we have been able to serve more than 600 patients and 22 clinical trials here in the kingdom. And for us, every clinical trial is a learning hub. We are considered a learning hub for knowledge transfer and to equip the local scientists and local innovation and local investigator to the latest innovation that's happening in the future medicine. So that's the way we are thinking about how to empower local talents and make the biotechnology readiness for the future evolution of medicine.
That's great. Dr. Hatem, you highlighted how the AstraZeneca basically connect the science and digital innovation, which is a clear sign that the biotech readiness goes beyond the lab, and this is what we are highlighting here. I'll move to Dr. Olfat from Roche. Roche has long played a key role in translating global scientific strength into local ecosystem growth. My question is, how is Roche leveraging global expertise toward national capacity building, particularly in clinical research, regulatory science, and advanced manufacturing?
Thank you so much. I think my fellow panelists alluded at the first question on the importance of the partnership and how we can all together bring the expertise that we have on the global level to the local level. Definitely Roche, being an international company with the footprint in more than 150 countries and several hubs, brings a lot of value as well in collaborating and partnering with the local ecosystem here in Saudi. And let me start by saying that this partnership has been built through a long period of time, and it's not something that is new. And in 2021, we built kind of a foundational memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Investment. And this memorandum of understanding had three main pillars. The first one is advancing manufacturing, where we were building on our global expertise, our global know-how in order to co-create the good manufacturing and good quality practices as well here in the kingdom. We're taking this even further with some critical as well practical aspects. We're trying to collaborate as well on the research aspect when it comes to the genetics with our global hubs, be it in Switzerland or in the USA. The other aspect is related to the regulatory frameworks. Definitely, as I've mentioned, we have a footprint in more than 150 countries. So what we are trying here is leveraging those expertise and this know-how in order to co-create with the authorities some regulatory systems that are flexible and at the same time that are agile in order to be conducive for innovation and adaptation of the innovation. And the third pillar is related to the research by itself and to the clinical research in general. And I can say here we have built critical partnerships with a Center of Excellence here in Saudi, like King Faisal or the National Guard, where we've been able to create a framework on the good clinical practice. And now we are building this even further, where we have signed yesterday a memorandum of understanding here at the Global Health exhibition. And this memorandum of understanding, it's really the next step and elevating our collaboration here even further, where we tend to build the capabilities of the workforce when it comes to research and development. And it's really about developing the protocols, decision-making, and harnessing the data that comes out of it, so we can create this credibility from the local experience that we have, but at the same time, capture the value at the local level. With this, I think we can create a future-ready and future-proof workforce and capability in the kingdom.
Yeah, you mentioned collaboration multiple times, and that's, I think, what I agree with you, the multinational collaboration that strengthens the national capacity in Saudi. I will direct the question now to Dr. Barton Buxton from McLaren Healthcare Group. So, Dr. Barton, McLaren Healthcare offers a health system perspective spanning virtual, retail, and in-home care platforms integrated with clinical research. My question is, from the healthcare or from the health system perspective, how is McLaren using global expertise to build the national capacity through your integrated platforms?
It's a great question. We try and bring all perspectives together around solutions on gaps of care. And as we think about those gaps of care, bringing multiple ideas from multiphasic, multi-collaborative partnerships, they help us rethink what we're doing. Everybody's at a different stage of development, but we're all getting to the same place. Everybody is facing various different aspects of the application of technology and how educational preparation needs to support that and to be able to deliver it. So opportunities like this to sit on a stage with exceptional panelists, people who are high thinking about this stuff, help us to reframe, rebase, and then reoperate what it is that we're doing. And I think that more of that is needed. I listened to one of the panelists that spoke before us talk about the integration of that and trying to create a global platform systematically for education. I think there's value in that thinking, and I think that helps us all move forward at this point in time properly to be able to collectively understand, appreciate, and begin to develop plans and execute them about what's coming forward. We have huge changes in the healthcare platform right now, globally. The speaker that spoke from the World Health Organization talked about the variation that they're seeing. I think we need to close the gap on variation, and I think that's really, really important. And I think as we partner with specifically the scientific community that's driving innovation, I think we constantly need to come together on creating a platform that everyone can stand on versus the only people that can get this are the people that can afford it. And McLaren spends a lot of time thinking about that on the global stage, and how do we bring that back? We have residents and fellows from all over the world. We learn as much from them as they learn from us. And I think it's always important to stop, listen, make sure you're understanding how we all get to that same platform.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Dr. Barton. I will move the question to Dr. Islam Khadr from Gilead Sciences, a company with deep experience developing talent and building a collaborative ecosystem across regions. My questions to you, Dr. Islam, with Gilead's global experience, what lessons stand out when it comes to attracting and developing biotech talent, especially in fast-evolving therapeutic areas?
Thank you, Dr. Abdullah, and it's a pleasure to be here today with this panel. So for us in Gilead, we do consider reskilling and re-innovating in our skills. It's something that we consider as a strategic capability for us in Gilead, and this is not a side project that we do on the side. And there are three things that we're really considering in how we work with our talents across the globe. First of all, since inception of Gilead, 38 years back, we have been always having an operating model that rewards technical mastery. And that's something that we have been doing to create that tracks for our experts, to have an experts track across, not just the managerial one, to be able to embrace our scientists and our technical experts across the globe. And we have been doing this on an affiliate, regional, and global level in Gilead. Second, which is very important and close to our heart, is how our skills evolution really follows our pipeline evolution. If you look 10 years back, Gilead has been only a virology company, deeply rooted in HIV and hepatitis, with strong roots in this. Since less than 10 years, we have been coming to oncology, cell therapy, and inflammation. And one of the key things that we have been doing is deliberate reskilling of our teams and workforce across our value chain. If you look from drug discovery, clinical development, because oncology cell therapy needs a totally different set of skills, manufacturing as well, and as well how can we have regulatory discussions and definitely commercialization in the countries. And if I just focus on oncology for us, because we are really focused on precision medicine and next generation platforms like CAR-T and antibody drug conjugates. And this requires mainly a lot of internal capabilities to be able to train and get this externally, and as well external collaboration and partnerships to be able to educate healthcare professionals to be able to embrace such kind of innovation. Last but not the least for us, which is very important for us, is what we call the partnership flywheel. So we have 40 plus collaboration and strategic alliances with academia and with research and with biotechs across the globe to be able to mobilize our talents and make sure that the flow of information is happening between us and these academia and education centers globally and locally. And how we did it in cell therapy, this is seriously how we did it. Because if you look at cell therapy in nature, how you build it from clinical development, from manufacturing, and from registering these products, it requires a lot of partnerships and talent development and reskilling internally and externally as well.
Awesome. Well, Doctor, you brought education and collaboration, and this takes me directly to Dr. Michael Rouse. You've spent decades shaping international standards in pharmacy education and professional credentialing. Tell us about practice implementation centers and how can play a pivotal role in upskilling and preparing specialists for the evolving domain of biotechnology practice.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the kind invitation to be a member of this panel, a very important discussion. When I look at my own profession, pharmacy, 50, 60 years ago, implementation centers were vitally important as the profession of pharmacy started to undergo major changes in the roles that pharmacists have. Most of these centers were at academic health centers where they had the collaboration between universities and hospitals. And I saw these centers as perhaps fulfilling two roles. One is as a laboratory, perhaps, and the other is as an incubator or nursery for developing talent for the future specialists. Having new technologies is only a part of the story. We know that. We have to ensure that those technologies are used safely and effectively. I believe the current figures from the World Health Organization say that only about 50% of medications are used as intended and have the desired outcomes. We also know that medicines and other technologies can have harmful effects, and we have to ensure that those are minimized. And I think this is the vital role of implementation centers to ensure that new technologies are tested appropriately so that the research and evidence is produced to demonstrate how they can be used, these new technologies can be used effectively and safely, whether it's through clinical trials or any other mechanism to gather that evidence of the use of these new technologies in practice. The implementation centers, I think, do a good job of bringing together all the key stakeholders, academics, researchers, practitioners, the industry, all come together in a highly controlled environment, very, very quality assured environment, which helps to ensure that the outcomes and the results are going to be safe and evident. So I believe we need to ensure that these centers are flourishing, that they have the right opportunities to do the necessary research that we want, but also they serve as essential training grounds to help to prepare future practitioners for those highly sophisticated, highly technical, highly specialized roles. So they certainly continue, and in countries where they don't exist, I would encourage the regulators, the governments, the authorities to actively explore establishing these centers to produce the evidence that we need to ensure that these technologies are used appropriately.
Well, it appears to be a successful functioning model, and I think many can actually learn from. I will move to Dr. Ahmed with the national regulator's perspective in the Saudi Commission for his specialties. The Saudi Commission is central to aligning industry efforts with practitioner development. My question for you is, from national regulators' perspective, what comprehensive frameworks and strategic steps are essential to advance the health workforce in Saudi Arabia toward global excellence in biotechnology?
Thank you for having me, and welcome to the Global Health Exposition for 2025. Before that, answering that question, I will go to the points, and I would like to elaborate on the points of building future-ready biotechnology workforce goes beyond education and skills. It's about building a robust regulatory framework and systems that allow for innovation and safeguard the public health. So let's put that as an umbrella on building our workforce in the future. When it goes to the regulatory action that we should actually elaborate, I could mention it into 3 points when it comes to the Saudi position. We have to modernize our licensing framework. And in the Saudi Commission, we have gone an extra mile on that, was we created a register for clinical researchers. So this is one. We have building, moving from one size fits all when it comes to licensing into multiple aspects, depends on the profession. Moving to the second point, refine our competencies framework. It's very important to refine that. It's very important to focus on competencies and move from traditional education into skills-based And that would be very important because biotechnology is complex systems, complex technology. So we want to make sure that people who are working on those eventually will be products are trained and safe actually when dealing with this. The third point, it goes to what we are doing here in the global health. It's fostering collaboration. And when we say collaboration, we mean actionable collaboration. So we are happy that we have signed a lot of MOUs with, I would say, Sanofi, Merck, and Gilead, and Roche. And in the coming 2 days, we have more. But those actionable partnerships are meaningful because they are the driver for innovation. And not only partnership between industry and regulator, we have to include academia. We have to include even the practitioners, they have a voice in that. So this holistic overview of engagement and a robust regulatory framework would help us actually to reach to our goal and actually create a biotechnology industry in Saudi that will help and participate in the GDP of the country and makes those kind of jobs that are attractive for the future generations when we do all that circle and alignment.
Well, thank you, Dr. Ahmed. I have actually many questions prepared to all panelists, but I think we're running out of time. So I would like to ask one last question, and I would like to hear at least 20 seconds answer from each panelist. The question basically is, if you had to choose one shared action, what's the most important step we should take together to prepare our healthcare practitioners for biotechnology future? Ms. Preeti, please.
Thank you. We discuss this with our regulators, our partners, continuously. If there was one thing that to move forward for education, for innovation and regulation to be on par with each other and move together, it is institutionalized co-creation. So, and everything that we see around the ecosystem, things work when you institutionalize it, when you mandate it. Today, when we look at the rate of innovation and the rate of knowledge transfer, the gap is very wide. Yes. Until we institutionalize it, we're not going to move forward in a meaningful way.
Perfect. Dr. Hatem?
Yeah, as mentioned by Dr. Ahmed, so what we are really looking for is a sustainable ecosystem, resilient and as well ready for the future. And I believe if this to happen, we need a collaboration between Ministry of Health, Saudi Health Commission to have a unified national regulatory framework for biotechnology. And that should happen within the private sector together with industry and the regulators in order to aspire what we are really looking for, that our workforce here in Saudi are really an agile workforce, globally competitive. They are not only adopting biotechnology, but they innovate for the future.
Thank you. Dr. Alpha.
I think it falls in the same direction as Dr. Ahmed mentioned. It needs everyone's effort to come together in order to create the ecosystem that we need. And if there's one thing that I would like to see is this 360 learning ecosystem in place where everyone plays a role in this, be it the educator, where they fulfill the education piece, the regulators that are putting in place the good quality, and as well the industry, which is bringing the innovation and the science behind. And it's like a chain reaction. One step can lead to the other, and if it's broken somewhere, it will not give the best results. So my wish is that we have this 360 ecosystem in place.
Perfect. Dr. Michael?
Well, biotechnology is a very complex technology. It's a multifaceted technology. It's a multi-professional technology. And I think my vision would be to have all the stakeholders come together to produce a competency framework that can be applied globally so that we fully understand everything that goes into not only producing the technology, but using it safely. So this is a complex construct. And I think we really have to put all of our heads together. All the stakeholders need to come together to figure that out and put together a framework that we can all follow.
Thank you, Dr. Michael. Dr. Ahmed?
I'll be very concise in 10 seconds. Anticipates the future. That comes with an alignment with the industry of biotechnology. Meaningful partnership.
Beautiful. Dr. Barton?
I think it's important that we continue to focus on how to use technology to augment the work that's being done, not to replace the work that's being done. It's really, really important that it support balance, work-life balance, especially for professionals in healthcare. So we tend to think about things that extend the work of our professionals, integrate that into our teaching programs. But one example we've just recently embarked on is the use of digital pathology. Not only does it make our pathologists more productive and more effective, it augments their work so they can get it done much quicker. That work can then be broadcast out. We can do collective groups to study this work and again get more reliable outcomes for our physicians and ultimately for our patients who are at the center of our care.
Perfect. Dr. Islam.
So, thank you very much. And I would say if there is one thing I want to close with is if we really get the regulator and the academia with the industry to co-create a competency or a joint competency framework where you can really scale and identify the right skills, knowledge, and behaviors that you need, this will help us a lot. And once we have this framework, you can definitely build the measurable, micro-stackable credentials to be able to build on that. So once this is in place, you can really have a seamless journey from education to employment. And I would say, as Dr. Ahmed said, we're building an MOUs with the Saudi Commission to make sure that we can really have this across in Saudi. And I would say in Saudi, we're in a very unique position where we have a very robust infrastructure and Vision 2030. If we build in all of that, we will build a center of excellence. And as Gilead, we are really committed to be part of this transformation.
Well, thank you all for our distinguished panelists for these valuable insights. I will end with that statement that the future belongs to those who invest in people, in continuous learning and in collaboration, and in systems that translate innovation into real-world practice. On behalf of the Saudi Commission for his specialties, thank you all for being part of this dialogue. Have a wonderful day.